Hello students, this is your economics teacher INR. I hope you are well and utilizing the time wisely.
In the previous class, you learned about credit control measures, Reserve Bank of India and rural credit, and the role of Reserve Bank of India in agricultural growth. Today, you are going to learn about the Agricultural Refinance Development Corporation, regional rural banks, NABARAT and its role in agricultural credit, and Reserve Bank of India and industrial finance. Students, please watch this video very carefully till the end. Fine, let us enter into the topics. First, we will discuss the Agricultural Refinance Development Corporation. Students, take the page number 108. The Agricultural Refinance Development Corporation, ARDC. Farmers in India require mainly medium-term and long-term loans, and they face a lot of difficulties in getting them. The only organization providing long-term credit is Land Development Bank, which have lagged behind and recorded only limited success. The credit requirements of the agricultural sectors are increasing year after year. With the aim of bridging the gap in agricultural finance and to extend credit for projects involving agricultural development, an organization called the Agricultural Refinance Development Corporation (ARDC) was established by an act of Parliament, and it started functioning from July 1st, 1963. Objectives of the ARDC: first, to provide necessary funds by way of refinance to eligible institutions such as the Central Land Development Banks, State Cooperative Banks, and scheduled banks. Second, to subscribe to the debentures floated by the Central Land Development Banks, State Cooperative Banks, and scheduled banks, provided they were approved by the Reserve Bank of India. Second, you are going to learn about Regional Rural Banks, RRB. One of the important points of the 20 points economic program of Mrs. Indira Gandhi during emergency was the liquidation of rural indebtedness by stages and provide institutional credit to farmers and artisans in rural areas. It was in pursuance of this aspect of the new economic program that the government of India set up regional rural banks on 1975. The share of capital of RRB is subscribed by the central government 50%, state government concerned 15%, and the sponsoring commercial bank 35%. At present, there are 64 regional rural banks in India. The regional rural bank confine their lendings only to the weaker section, and their lending rates are at par with the prevailing rate of cooperative societies. The main objectives of the regional rural banks is to provide credit and other facilities, particularly to the small and marginal farmers, agricultural laborers, artisans, and small entrepreneurs, as to as develop agriculture, trade, commerce, industry, and other productive activities in the rural areas. Concession of regional rural banks. From the beginning, the sponsor bank have continued to provide managerial and financial assistance to regional rural banks, and also other concessions such as lower rate of interest, that is 8.5% on the latest borrowing from sponsor banks. Further, the cost of staff deputed to regional rural banks and the training expenses of regional rural banks staff are borne by the sponsor banks. The RBI has been granting many concessions of regional rural banks. First, they are allowed to maintain cash reserve ratio at 3% and statutory liquidity ratio at 25%, and they also provide refinance facilities through NABARAT. Thirdly, we will discuss NABARAT and its role in agricultural credit. Since its inception or the beginning, RBI has shown keen interest in agricultural credit and maintained a separate department for this purpose. Reserve Bank of India extended short-term seasonal credit as well as medium-term and long-term credit to agricultural through state-level cooperative banks and land development banks. At the same time, Reserve Bank of India has also set up the Agricultural Refinance Development Corporation (ARDC) to provide refinance support to the banks to promote programs of agricultural development, particularly those requiring term credits, with the widening of the role of bank credit from agricultural development to rural development. The government proposed to have a board-based organization at the apex level to extend support and give guidance to credit institutions in matter relating to the formation and implementations of rural development programs. NABARD, that is a National Bank for Agricultural and Rural Development, was therefore set up in July 1982 by an Act of Parliament to take over the functions of ARDC and the refinancing functions of Reserve Bank of India in relation to cooperative banks and regional rural banks. NABARD is linked organically with the Reserve Bank of India by the latter contributing half of its share capital, the other half being contributed by the Government of India. Government of India nominates 3 of its central board directors of the board of NABARD. Deputy Governor of Reserve Bank of India is appointed as chairman of NABARD. Function of NABARD. There are some important functions of NABARD. First function, NABARD act as a refinancing institution for all kinds of production and investment credit to agriculture, small scale industries, cottage and village industries, handicrafts and rural crafts and real artisans and other allied economic activities with a view to promoting integrated rural development. Second, it provides a short-term, medium-term and long-term credit to state cooperative banks, regional rural banks, land development banks and other financial institutions approved by Reserve Bank of India. Third, NABARD gives long-term loans maximum up to 20 years to state government to enable them to subscribe to the share capital of cooperative credit societies. Fourth, NABARD gives long-term loans to any institution approved by the central government or contribute to the share capital or invest in securities of any institution concerned with agriculture and rural development. Fifth, NABARD has the responsibility of coordinating the activities of central and state governments, the Planning Commission, and other all India and state level institutions entrusted with the development of small scale industries, village and cottage industries, rural crafts, industries in the tiny and decentralized sector, etc. Sixth, NABARD has the responsibility to inspect regional rural banks and cooperative banks and other than primary cooperative banks. Seventh one, it maintains a research and development fund to promote research in agriculture and rural development. Last, you are going to learn about Reserve Bank of India and industrial finance. The industries gets finance from commercial banks. The quantum and the term will be very much limited generally. Commercial banks lend for short term only, as they get only short term deposits from the public. Further, lending to industries is only a fragment of the total lending by the banks. Hence, there is a need and urgency of establishing long-term credit facilities to industries. The institutional setup in India for financing and promoting industries are as follows. Institutional setup. There are 2 types of institutional setups will be formulated in our nation. One is a all India level institution, second state level institution. All India level institution can be classified into 3 major categories. First, Industrial Finance Corporation of India, IFCI. Second, Industrial Credit and Investment Corporations of India, ICICI. Third, Industrial Development Bank of India, IDBI. State level institution can be classified into 2 major levels. One is State Financial Corporation, SFC. Second, State Industrial Development Corporation, SIDC. First, All India level institution. First, Industrial Finance Corporation of India. The Industrial Finance Corporation of India was set up under a statute in 1948 but has recently been converted into a public limited company to give flexibility to its operation. Its paid up capital on March 31st, 1996 was rupees 352.59 crores. IFCI provides project finance, financial service and promotional service to industrial units. Under its project finance, financial assistance is available to units in the corporate and cooperates sectors for new units. Expansion, diversification and modernization programs in the form of rupee loans and foreign currency loans, underwritings and direct subscription to shares, debentures, guarantees for deferred payments and foreign currency loans. Under its project finance and financial service, the outstanding was rupees 11,159.22 crores at the end of March 1996. IFCI provides assistance to the industrial concerns in the following ways. First, long-term loans both in rupees and foreign currencies. Second, underwritings of equity, preference and debenture issues. Third, subscribing to equity, preferences and debenture issues. Fourth, guaranteeing the deferred payments in respect of machinery imported from abroad or purchased in India. And fifth, guaranteeing of loans raised in foreign currency from foreign financial institution. Financial assistance of IFCI can be availed by any limited company in the public, private and joint sector, or by a cooperative society incorporated in India, which is engaged or proposes to be engaged in the specified industrial activities. Such financial assistance will be available for the setting up of new industrial project and also for the expansion, diversification, renovations or modernization or existing ones. The IFCI also provides financial assistance on concessional terms for setting up industrial project in industrially less developed district in the states or union territories notified by the central governments. The IFCI raises its resources by way of issue of banks in the market. Second, borrowing from Industrial Development Bank of India and the central government. Third, foreign credit secured from foreign financial institution and borrowing in the international capital markets. Second, Industrial Credit and Investment Corporation of India, ICICI. Industrial Credit and Investment Corporations of India was established in 1955 as a public limited company to encourage and assist industrial units in the country. It provides long-term in Indian and foreign currencies, underwrites issues of shares and debentures, make direct subscription to the issues and guarantees payment for credit made by the others. Paid up capital of ICICI was rupees 376.30 crores at the end of March 1996. Its outstanding portfolio amounted to rupees 15,220.2 crore at the end of March 1996. Initially, the capital of ICICI was held by private companies, institutions and individuals, but now a very large part of its equity capital is held by public sector institutions such as banks, LIC, GIC and its subsidiaries, as the private institution was nationalized. The significant features of the operations of ICICI is the foreign currency loan sanctioned by this institution to industries. Since its inception, nearly 50% of its disbursement had been in foreign currencies. This is possible because of the faculty it enjoys of raising funds in foreign currencies. The World Bank has been the single largest source of such funds since 1973. The ICICI has entered the international capital markets also for raising foreign currency loans. The major portions of its rupee resources is raised by way of debentures in the capital market. The ICICI also borrows from the Industrial Development Bank of India and the government. The major portion of its assistance has gone to the private sectors. Third, Industrial Development Bank of India, IDBI. The Industrial Development Bank of India, which is established in 1964 under an Act of Parliament, is the principal financial institution for providing credit and other facilities for development of industry, coordinating working of institution engaged in financing, promoting or developing industrial units and assisting development of such institution. IDBI has been providing direct financial assistance to large and medium industrial units and also helping small and medium industrial concern through banks and state level financial institutions. The paid up capital of IDBI at the end of March 1996 was rupees 819 crores. The total assistance outstanding at the end of March 1995 was rupees 37,307.8 crores. Functions of IDBI. The functions of IDBI fall into two groups. First, assistance to the other financial institution. Second, direct assistance to industrial concerns either on its own or in participation with other institution. The IBI can provide refinance in respect of terms loan to industrial concern given by the IFC, the SFC and other financial institutions notified by the governments, scheduled banks and state cooperative banks. A special features of the IDBI is the provision for the creation of a special fund known as Development Assistance Fund. The fund is instant to provide assistance to industries which requires heavily investment with low anticipated rate of returns. Such industries may not be able to get assistance in the normal course. The financing of exporters was also undertaken by the IDBI till the establishment of Exim Bank in March 1982. Next, state level institution. First, State Financial Corporation. At the state level, State Financial Corporation have been set up under the State Finance Corporation Act 1951. Along with the All India Financial Institution, they form an integral part of the development finance institution in the country. There are 18 state financial corporations in the country. They provide financial assistance to small and medium enterprises by term loan, direct subscription to equity, debentures, discounting of bills of exchange and guarantees. State financial corporation also provide equity type assistance to entrepreneur having viable project but lacking adequate funds of their own. Paid up capital of all 18 state financial corporation together was rupees 1,148.9 crores at the end of March 1994. Total assistance outstanding was rupees 7,950.55 crores at the end of the March 1994. Here, the state government of India passed in 1951 the State Financial Corporation Act, and state financial corporation was set up in many states. The state financial corporation are mainly intended for the development of small and medium industries units within their respective states. However, in some cases, they extend to neighboring state as well as the State Financial Corporation provides loans and underwriting assistance to industrial units having paid up capital and resource not exceeding rupees 1 crore. The maximum amount that can be sanctioned to an industrial concern by State Financial Corporation is rupees 60 lakhs. State Financial Corporation depends upon the IDBI for refinance in respect of the term loans guaranteed by them. Apart from these, the SFC can also make temporary borrowing from the Reserve Bank of India and borrowing from IDBI and by the sale of bonds. Second state level institution, State Industrial Development Corporation, SIDCOs. The Industrial Development Corporation have been set up by the state government and they are wholly owned by them. These institutions are not merely financing agencies, they are entrusted with the responsibility of accelerating the industrializations of their states. SIDCO provides financial assistance to industrial concern by way of loans guarantee and underwriting of or direct subscription to shares and debentures. In addition to these, they undertake various promotional activities such as conducting techo-economic service, then project identification, preparations of feasibility studies and selection and training of entrepreneur. They also promote joint sector project in association with private promoters in such type of project. SIDCOs take 26%, private co-promoter takes 25% of the equity, and the rest is offered to the investing public. SIDCOs undertake the development of industrial areas by providing all infrastructure facilities and initiation of new growth centers. They also administer various state government incentive schemes. SIDCOs get refinance facilities from IDBI. They also borrow through bonds and accept deposits. That's all for today. We will continue in the next class. Finish the assignment by clicking the link below.